If you're the unmarried son or daughter of a US citizen over the age of 21, family first preference, you have a long wait before you can get your green card, before you can get your visa interview. Why is that taking so long, and why this particular category is being impacted the most? We'll talk about that and how long it's going to take for NVC to schedule your visa interview if you are under the F1 family first preference. Hello everybody and welcome back to Immigration Channel. This is where we explain complex immigration matters in short, simple videos. We make immigration easy. And in this video, I'm going to explain why it's taking so long for family first preference F1 to be scheduled for visa interviews or even get the priority date of these visas to move forward. Why it's taking forever. We'll talk about this. What are some of the predictions moving forward in 2024? I know many of you are concerned specifically in this category, and in future videos I'm going to reference and analyze other categories as well. Before we do that, if you're here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos, and also give us a big like so YouTube will be able to show this video to more people just like you. As always, if you need help with your immigration matters, all you have to do is send me a text, 619-483-4549. And if text doesn't work, the easiest way is go to www.immigrationasap.com. It's designed specifically for you to be able to book a consultation with us. Leave your details and one of our team members will contact you ASAP. Now, let's dive into the video. How long does it take for family first preference F1 to process right now as we are starting 2024? As you know, every single month I analyze the visa bulletin in more detail and we talk about the different preferences. But in this particular video, I want to focus on F1, family preference 1, specifically what's happening in January of 2024. And it's very important to understand why this category is not moving that much. So if you look at the visa bulletin for January 2024, which is what we have right now at the recording of this video, F1 preference for final action dates, chart number 1, is at January 1st, 2015. This is for the rest of the world, also for India and China. When it comes to Mexico, it's at May 1st, 2001. You can see most of the world is at 2015, which is a very long time to wait for a date to become current before your visa can move further in the process. Now, if you look at dates of filing, now the rest of the world is September 1st, 2017. The same for China and India. Mexico is at April 1st, 2005. And the Philippines is April 22nd, 2015. Now, we're going to focus on final action dates because most of the applicants under F1 category are outside of the US. Now, when most people ask me, why am I not getting interviews? I'm waiting. I am a son or daughter of a US citizen. I'm over 21. I cannot marry because if they marry, their category will change and therefore they won't be eligible anymore for this preference, which is kind of devastating because people are stuck. They're not able to move on in their life. Now remember, if you are a son or daughter of a US citizen over 21 and you're following the visa bulletin, remember that until those dates become current, it doesn't matter that you are documentary complete at the National Visa Center. I get a lot of emails and messages from people that say, well, we watched your video, we got our petition, I-130 approved at immigration, it took about 2-3 years, but now it's approved, and now we also documentary complete at the National Visa Center. They sent us an email. Why is it taking so long for us to be able to get a visa interview? So let me explain to you in a nutshell how this whole process works. So if you have a parent who is a US citizen, the first thing they do is they're going to file Form I-130 immigrant petition for you. You may be inside the United States in some other status. Usually we have applicants who are students or on work visas and their parents are US citizens. They file for them. Or majority of the applicants are outside the United States living their lives and they have their US citizen parents file for their application. These I-130 petitions may take 1, 2, sometimes 3 years to process. And finally, when you get approved, this is just the beginning of the process because once you get approved, your I-130 gets approved, that is being sent to the National Visa Center, which is a buffer agency that controls the processing of applications for all petitions. At that point, they'll ask your family member, your parent in this case, for financial documents, for birth certificates and all kind of documentations to complete the processing of your case. And once they're done with that, they'll consider your case documentary complete. Now, Currently, at the National Visa Center, we have over 300,000 cases that are documented complete. They cannot move forward. Why? Because the visa bulletin is still behind. There are no visas available. And as I mentioned to you before, when we looked at the visa bulletin, final action dates, you saw that right now they're working on cases from 2015, right? This is almost 10 years of wait time for applicants that are in this category. Now, in the past year, if you compare the visa bulletins, we've done this analysis before, there was not too much movement in the F1 category. And the reason why is because a lot of these embassies and consulates were not working properly in the past 2 years. And a lot of their preference went to immediate relatives. Now, if you're F1 preference category, you're not considered to be an immediate relative. An immediate relative is a spouse of a U.S. citizen, a child under 21, or a parent of a U.S. citizen. These are considered to be immediate relatives, and these applications were receiving priority in the past 2 years to process their cases at U.S. embassies and consulates worldwide. And because they had a preference system, which cases are going to go before other cases, categories like the F1 were pushed backwards. And they didn't really see any movement because they didn't really have any visas to give them. A lot of these visas were allocated to other categories. As you know, in the past year, the government started making some efforts. They were hiring more officers to do those interviews. They were waiving a lot of interviews, including immigrant visa interviews, and more things started to process. They even allocated some unused visas from family petitions to the employment categories to be able to process those cases faster. Again, because of these backlogs, a lot of visas became unused on the family petitions, and therefore this backlog continued to grow even more. Now, as we move to 2024, we've seen definitely improvements. And I've made videos about how soon NVC will process your case, and we've seen movements like a decrease in backlog anywhere from 8 to 14% in the past 6 months. 8 to 14% overall. But categories like F1 and F3 that are still behind, too much of a movement. We've seen maybe 1 to 3% decrease in backlogs in the F1 category, which is the one we're talking about right now. So if overall we've seen a 14% decrease in the backlog and less than 3% in this particular category, what does it tell me? It tells me that we're going to see similar slow movement in the next 6 months, probably all through June. And after June, there's going to be a definite movement faster in all family categories. And this is because the State Department is doing a lot of efforts. They're waiving more interviews, they're hiring more officers, they may be allocating more visas and more changes in visa categories, maybe eliminating the need to give employment visas to family dependents, and they won't be counted towards the cap. All kind of efficiencies that we're going to see. Maybe there's going to be some kind of a bill proposed later this year to make things move a little bit faster. All I'm saying to you is that I don't think we're going to see too much of a change in the next 6 months, but we will see better movement after the summer. And F1 category is a tough one because it limits the applicants who are in it from getting married, from moving forward in life, and we know it's hard. And therefore, there's been a lot of pressure on Congress to do something about it as well. So, to summarize this, F1 is still going to be behind. Again, you're not going to see too much changes in the visa bulletin, and as a result, if you don't have any changes in the visa bulletins, that means there's no visas to give you in your category. Other categories will slowly move forward. We're going to see increases from 14 to maybe 25% cut in the backlogs, and that's going to trickle down to other categories like the F1. And therefore, I'm thinking that after June of 2024, we're going to see some movement forward, even in the F1 category. As I mentioned to you before, I wish I could give you better news, but at least you have an idea why it's happening and where you're standing if you're an F1 category beneficiary. Once again, I hope this information is helpful. Drop in the comments below if you're in F1 category and what concerns you have, so I'll be able to address them in future videos. As always, if you need help with your immigration matters, send me a text 619-483-4549 or jump to www.immigrationasap.com, drop your information, and we'll contact you ASAP. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.